Hello, Aisha. How are
Hi,
you?
Luna. I'm good. So nice to see you.
Yes,
How
the
are you
same
and how's
here.
family?
Everything fine. I hope you
Okay,
too.
wonderful. Yes, we're okay. Coping with the situation of COVID-19,
Yes,
but
of course,
things
as
are okay.
everybody in the world in this moment.
Yes,
But this is
absolutely.
nice. We can connect. I am here from the International Institute in Barcelona, welcoming you from
Thank
Muscat in
you.
Oman.
Yes.
Yes. And what I would like to do,
From
it is,
boiling Muscat. From
yes,
boiling Muscat.
I would like to talk to you today about your son, Omer. The
Okay.
experience that you had as parents, you and your
Mm,
husband and Omer and your other son, of course, and me,
mm.
we together, we did a very fantastic work with Omer during now many years. But I would like you to tell a little bit how it was from the beginning with Omer.
Yeah. Okay. My son Omar was diagnosed with the encephalitis at the age of 1 year old. And since then, we started our, search journey, trying to look for, the best hospitals and the best clinics in neurology in order to help him to, overcome the seizures that he was frequently suffering from. Of course, encephalitis was the primary diagnosis, but it caused him, the consequence of encephalitis was, seizures. And they weren't controlled with medications, with the anti-epileptic medications. And we started once we get to know that he was actually suffering from this illness, we tried to fetch for, neurologist. And unfortunately, we didn't have much support here in Oman. We are just lagging behind in terms of medical and rehabilitative services. So I started, of course, looking in the internet. I went to Dubai, and then I went to Thailand, and then I went to UK, and then I visited many European countries seeking for rehabilitation services for my son, because I knew it wasn't just the problem with the seizures. I mean, I know that they were not controlled, but at the same time, my son at that early age, he needed rehabilitation, this as soon as possible. So
Yeah, he was lacking in
yes,
quite many motor function skills in
yes,
this
yes,
moment, no?
yeah.
Speech,
Yeah,
movement.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So,
Mm.
as you recall, and as you said, actually, Omar suffers from many issues. It wasn't only the problem with the seizures and controlling them, but he had problems with speech. He wasn't able to talk.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to walk,
No.
and even he lost his muscle tones.
Yes.
Like, I mean, when you touch him, and if you remember in Barcelona at that time, when he came, he was like a dough. I mean,
Yes.
his muscles
Totally.
were not strong. He wasn't able even to hold a pencil or
Yeah.
a cup. Also because he was on 7 anti-epileptic medications, because it was like a trial and error with my son, because doctors had to keep trying on anti-epileptic medication to find which one worked for him and for his brain at that time. So it was really, really difficult. He was in a very difficult situation.
Yeah. It was
And
like he had a general delay, no, also
yes,
at this
yes,
moment in
yeah, yes,
understanding and yeah, a general
yes.
delay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And of course, in terms of intellectual development, he
Hmm.
also suffered. He was lagging
Yes.
behind, and
Yes.
I could feel it, because Umar is my second son, and I could see, and I am in the education field, so I could tell that my son is not he's not covering the proper milestones as his peers. So I knew that there was something wrong. But of course, I mean, I don't know how to help my son, because at the end of the day, I'm a mother. I'm not a specialist. Also, he had, as one of the consequences of the anti-epileptic medication, he was very skinny, and he was a very picky eater. And the other thing, that he wasn't sleeping. He didn't sleep at night, so it was really difficult for me as a working mother, is to stay awake the whole night, because he wasn't actually sleeping well. And at the same time, he didn't have, he couldn't understand the world that surrounds him. He had problems with the perception. He couldn't differentiate between, for example, food or insects. He would just put anything in his mouth. I know at age children or babies tend to experiment the word by touching things into his mouth, but actually at the time when we came to you, he was supposed to cover this, phase, but unfortunately he wasn't aware of the word. He could recognize me and his father, his family, his close relatives who's used to, but again he wasn't able to recognize the other people. So he has so many medical issues and intellectual issues that I had to look after in every single aspect of his life. And that's why we traveled a lot seeking for, medical and rehabilitative services till we found you. Till we met in Dubai in a conference. And
Yes.
as actually I went to Dubai and I wasn't convinced that this is the thing that I want to do. But I mean, after meeting you and listening to your lecture and attending your workshop, I felt, oh God, if this is my last destination, my last stop, then be it. So be it. And this is why, I started communicating with you and, requesting to meet you in Barcelona. And alhamdulillah, I'm glad. It was the biggest decision in my life. And I don't regret it because it was really miraculous what happened to my son. It was the turning point in my life and in my son's life.
Yeah, but because actually it was like this, that you didn't really in these years, it was about 5 years you have been searching around in different countries, as you told yourself. You didn't found anything who was very effective for Omer. You didn't saw a lot of changes in this 4 years or 4.5 years before we began the Temprana.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, this exactly. This is what happened is that, we used to travel a lot. And of course, we used to pay a lot. And unfortunately, none of those rehabilitative services that my son was exposed to were really effective in the sense that they were permanent.
No.
And that was really, really frustrating. You know what I mean? As a mother, you just travel and you spend, 2 months or more. And, you pay so much, and it takes so much effort as well. And, I had a lot of hope that, these things will work for my son. But unfortunately, I could see the improvement, in a very short term, as long as I'm there. Once I'm back to my country, Umar will just go down.
Yes.
Will go down. He will just go back to zero. And it was really, really frustrating, frustrating. You could see how much... it's not just about being frustrated as a mother, but it was really painful. It's painful because you could see you had that hope, and then suddenly as if you are you see the light in the tunnel, and then somebody suddenly turns off the light in the middle when you are in the middle of the way.
I understand this very well also because I tried this myself with one of my children.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why I believed in you more than any other therapist in the whole world. I believed in you because it came from an experience of a mother, not just a therapist, but also as a mother. So you understand, what we go through as parents.
Yes. The worst moment in my own life, it was to have a son with a constantly epileptic attack. Absolutely.
Yeah. And also the thing is that there is a lot of similarities of Umar's condition and Christian's, your son's, condition. And that's why I said, okay, now this is it. It must be this is the situation. This is the condition. And this is the place where I want to go next. And after this, I'm not going to go anywhere. And I kept praying to Allah that, please help me, guide me so I can find the right medicine. And alhamdulillah, God has, rewarded me by, getting to know you and, not just as a therapist, but again, as a person.
Yeah. Yes. So what happened? You came here to Barcelona. It is now how many years ago? And you did the parents course.
Yes.
And after that, you went home to Muscat and you began stimulating Omer with this therapy you have learned here. And I remember still that very fast you saw some change, and suddenly they were calling from his daycare. I think he were in a kindergarten in this moment. And
Yeah.
you were always shaking when they called from school, but suddenly they called you to tell you positive things. I remember that.
Yes, absolutely. Luna, when we came to Barcelona, Umar had all these issues listed. I mean, the one I've
Yes,
just
yes.
mentioned. Yes, and then we took the training, the family course, of course, and we finished. And we were in Barcelona at that time. I mean, the first remarkable, the first observation, okay, is that when we shifted from Barcelona, because it was. My husband decided to go and explore, Spain, since we were there as a family. So, and it was, it was very tiring experience. And, he said, okay, it's time to go for sightseeing. So the day we left from Barcelona and we arrived at Madrid, I noticed that Omar slept the whole night. That was my first observation. Even his Omar's nanny was with us, if you remember.
Yes.
Okay. And we were all shocked because usually we take turns, because,
Yeah.
he didn't sleep. And of course we need to sleep. So we used to take turns. So we all slept, the three of
Yeah.
us, we all slept. And then when we woke up, she asked me, Madame, did you wake up during the night for Omar? I said, no. I said, did you hear him, in the middle of the night crying or something? She said, no. And that was the first impression, is that, oh my God, Omar slept. And then I was still skeptical. I said, okay, there's no way that it can work that fast,
Yes,
and
yes,
then the
it was one
following
of the
night,
first days in
yeah,
Barcelona.
yeah,
During the
exactly.
course days.
Yes, and then on the following day, the same thing happened. The third day, the same thing happened. We spent a week and he was sleeping at night. And then, because the first day I thought, okay, maybe he's too tired, of traveling, and that's why. But then we noticed that he's sleeping. And even during the whole flight, he was sleeping. He wasn't as annoying as before. So sleeping was the first
Changed.
observation. And then when we came to Oman, I continued, of course, with the therapy, and I was taking turn with the nanny. The second thing we noticed is that he started to eat. He's not refusing to eat, certain types of food. He was just eating whatever we served him. And again, we were so much impressed. And then after a week, and this was really, it made me cry, Luna. He was still
This
wasn't
is what I
walking.
remember.
Yes, I really cried. One day I was coming from work at SQU, at Sultan Qaboos University. I was, as you know, I was a lecturer there. My sister, I used to put him and my sister with his nanny in my sister's house. And then my sister surprised me. Okay. She, when I came, she let Omar open the door for me. So the moment I rang the bell, I opened the door. The maid was there behind the door. And when I looked, I saw Omar standing and walking towards me. And I couldn't really,
Yeah. Hard
I just
moment.
couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it that he was walking.
No. Yes.
So
big moments.
it wasn't.
We have many big moments together.
Yes, exactly. This moment I can never. Now I feel like my whole body shivering. But it was really emotional. It's really. I cracked. I never cried when Omar got sick, and even when he was in his worst condition in the intensive care units, I never cried. But only I was holding, my emotions, and only that day I couldn't hold it anymore. It was the time when it was for me to cry and just let it go out of my system. So Alhamdulillah, I'm very grateful, and of course it didn't stand there. I mean, it didn't stop there. I mean, there were always more. I mean, as you said, the incident that happened, he was going to a British kindergarten, and suddenly they called me, and I thought he must be suffering from his epileptic attack, although there was a nurse and they know the doses. And I was really shaking, holding the phone, shaking. And then she said, we would like to meet you now. And I said, is everything okay? Is Omar okay? She said, yes, is everything okay? But the principal wants to meet you. And then I don't know how I went there, but I was really, literally, I was shaking. And then she told me, we're just so curious. We want to know what you did with Omar. I said, what do you mean? She said, we noticed that he is now more cooperative. We noticed that his perception, his understanding, he was able to comprehend, things we do for children. And I said,
But also
Seriously?
he could begin using a
Yes,
pen.
the pen.
Yes, I
Yes,
remember
exactly.
that.
And she said he used, like, to hold. He wasn't able to hold the pen, and even when we try, he couldn't actually. He only with the help of a shadow teacher, he was able to hold the pen, and whatever he puts there on papers was like scribbles. And then I said, now he's capable. He's at least now can draw lines, can draw circles, and even I remember, I kept those papers for quite some time, like more than I think 5 years. But then I just got rid of them because I had piles of files of different memories, and I thought, okay, it's time to just get rid of those things. Now my son
Yeah.
has improved a lot, and of course started talking. I mean, you see, the thing is with the Temprana, it's you never go back to zero.
No.
It's
Maybe it
permanent.
stopped if you do not
It's
do what you should do, but it
yeah.
never go back to zero.
It
Never.
never goes back to, and this is what makes it miraculous therapy. My son has actually started progressing, though slowly, but at least he's progressing. He's
Yes.
progressing,
He
and
progressed
now,
so
yes,
much,
yes,
Aisha.
he's progressing. But I mean, as a parent, we are always greedy. But I mean, he is progressing a lot, and each time
Yes.
I can see the difference, and sometimes he really surprises me with with the way he talks, and even with the sentences. And I felt that he suddenly started from producing like one single word into full compound sentences,
Yeah.
complex
And
sentences
it
that
was
could
quite
show.
fast. It
Yeah,
was
yes,
quite fast.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And he has developed a lot of social skills as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now I can see, of course, there are still some drawbacks, but I mean, it could never ever cross my mind that this is the way the Temprana could change my son's life. It changed
No.
his life. It changed my life. And now my son, alhamdulillah, he's bilingual. He speaks both languages, English and Arabic,
Yes, because we
and
have to
he's
tell that
he's he's
all this
fully in.
period we are talking
Yes.
about now,
Yeah.
it is when Omer, then he about 5 to 6 years old. And today, how old is
Yeah.
Omer?
He's 18 years.
He's a
18.
teenager.
Yes.
Yes. And he, as you told just now, that he's speaking fluent 2 languages,
Yes.
English and
Yes.
Arabic. And
Yeah.
also he really have developed, and we have to tell he also became like a champion in bowling, no?
Yes. Yes. He's
Yes,
Special Olympic champion in bowling. Yeah.
yes,
He
yes,
participated in the Special Olympic in Abu Dhabi 2 years ago,
yes,
and he won the silver medal. Five
yes.
silver. Sorry. Five. Yeah.
Fantastic.
5 silver medals.
Things that
Yes.
we have difficult to imagine when we begin working with a child as Omer, no? That it will
Yeah.
happen, that I nearly said ends in this way. It doesn't end yet. Of course not. But that we can go to this point, that we can come to this point where he can have such a big difference in his life, no?
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
just amazing.
Absolutely.
And then I also
Indeed.
think we should tell that from this moment where we began working with Omer, that since this moment we have been working together very close,
Yes.
and we have trained
True.
more than thousands parents in
Absolutely. In
Oman since
Oman.
this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, more
Yes.
than 1,000. I think we lose the number, no, Aisha?
Yeah. I lost counting, honestly, because
Yes,
they were.
me also. When we came to
Yeah.
1,000, I also lose the counting. And think about it, every parent, it's 3 days course and more than 1,000 parents we have done
Yeah.
in a period of course, I think it's about 10 years now, no? So
Yeah. Yeah.
many children and many family have had a huge benefit of
Yes.
Temprana reflect therapy in Oman.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Huge results. Huge
Yes,
results.
yes.
Incredible results. I mean, if I haven't witnessed it myself, I wouldn't believe it. But I mean, it's
No.
huge result. So
Yes,
many
we have
parents
been
are very
together doing this.
thankful.
Yes, we
Yes.
have really been
Absolutely.
side by side with you and me and
Yes.
many from my team. No, Robert
Yes.
from
Yes.
Poland and yeah, mostly Robert from Poland and of course
Yeah.
also Carmen here from Spain. Yeah,
Yes.
So yes,
The thing is, for me, I thought, I mean, as a parent, it's a shame if we don't spread this, science.
yes,
It would be a shame, because if my son Omar benefited, who's a child with encephalitis, and considered as a disabled child, then we can change the lives of thousands, millions of people. So I thought, I
exactly.
mean, I don't want to keep this to myself. I wanted to spread it in my own country, and I want people and parents to get to know about it,
Yes,
because
and be good.
Yes, and we
Absolutely.
did. Yes, of course. Yeah, I established the White Hand Center in Oman, and that
Yeah.
was, the starting point for us to spread the science to
Yes.
the whole
And
country.
not only in Oman,
Yes.
also in Abu Dhabi and Dubai and
Yes,
other
yes,
countries around.
yes, in the other GCC countries.
They
Yes,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it is such a good story about Omer. That is really a success history. But
yeah,
I will
indeed.
also like to mention that you have been very, what can we say, stable in insisting also in doing Temprana reflex therapy home training with your son, no? And this is
Yeah,
also
true.
one of the things we need to say, that it's not to do with the stimulation now and then. You really have to commit with this therapy to get this kind of results, no?
Yeah,
I mean, you need to do it. If you don't
yes,
follow the instructions of how to do it, how often to do it, and all these kind of
yeah,
things, of course, we will not obtain these same results as we know here
yeah,
about
absolutely.
Omer, no? But it was
Yes,
nice,
absolutely.
and it was nice to hear it again, for me again, many times. I have, of course, I have all details about Omer, but what I wanted it is to share this experience with the rest of the world. So
Sure,
now
sure,
in the
dear.
future, I think, Aisha, we will keep on working together with parents
Inshallah.
online.
Yes.
No?
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Sure,
yes.
sure,
I'm sure.
sure.
Well, of course, we will not stop working together if it is possible to keep on in Oman, depending on the condition the crisis are giving us. But if not, we don't give up. We keep on online. No, sharing this therapy with the parents all over the world, also in Oman.